Hello everybody, I'm JB, and I'm here with another video to talk about Survivor, Season 40, Winners at War. This is my third video that I'm putting up, and today I just want to talk about all the winners that are not going to be on Season 40. There's 18 winners, and today I just want to give my thoughts on them, how I think they would have done if they were on this season. As usual, there's not going to be any cuts in this video, no special effects. It's just going to be me here talking and giving my thoughts and feelings. So, I'm very tired today and I'm just getting over a cold, but I did want to get this video up before season 40 premiered, so here it is. So, with that said, I'm just going to jump right in and start from season 1 and go all the way to season 39. So, to start with, we have Richard Hatch, who was the winner of season 1 of Survivor, the original, the OG, and in my opinion, Richard should be on this season. He really should have been. I know he's a controversial character. The tax thing and him being naked out on the island, I understand that, but I really think it's very weird having an all-winner season without Richard Hatch. Now, if Richard was on the season, I think he would go very far. I think he would absolutely probably make the finale, and it's just a shame that we won't be able to see him because I really like Richard a lot. I've actually met Richard. He's a very nice guy, very genuine, down to earth. And in my opinion, he is one of the best to ever play the game, and I think he really does deserve another chance. But that's that. So, moving on, we have Tina, season 2 winner, and she is another one who I think should have been on this season. She won the second season. She was the first female to ever win Survivor. She came back in Blood versus Water, played a very good game, almost won thanks to the Redemption Island twist. She's not coming back for this season, which is a shame. If she did come back, I would also see her going very far. I think she would definitely make the jury. And then after Tina, we have season 4 winner Vecepia. And Vecepia is more of an underrated winner. She's only played once, way back in season 4. It would have been cool to see her play again. If she did play again, I think she would make it far. I think she would definitely have made the jury. I don't think people would have seen her as a threat, but I think she would have a really good, strong social game at the very least. And I think if given the opportunity, she would definitely make some big game shifting moves. Not flashy game moves, but very subtle moves that would cause shifts in the game. So, would have been cool to see her play again, but unfortunately, she's not. Then after Vecepia is season 5 winner Brian. And Brian is probably the most controversial winner. A lot of people are split on him. He's a very polarizing winner, but he was one of the first to really play the game with a really cutthroat, take no prisoners attitude. Really went into the game treating it, as he said, like a business trip. I think in modern Survivor, Brian would do well. I don't think he will ever play again. It would have been really interesting to see him play again. If he was on the season, I see him being a wild card. I think he would either go home very early or he would make it very far. I don't think there's any in between. He either makes it to like final 8 or he's out in like the first 6. That's how I think he would have done if he was on this season. But after Brian, we have season 6 winner Jenna. And Jenna is another one that would have been interesting to see how she would have done on this season. If she was to play on this season, I think she would probably go right around the middle. I think she would definitely make jury, or she would go right before the jury. Possible merge boot. I like Jenna. I think she's another underrated winner. Would have been cool to see her play again, but she's not. But after Jenna, we have Chris Daughtry or Daughtery. I'm not quite sure how to pronounce his last name. But he was the winner of Survivor Season 9, Vanuatu, and he's another one who I think really should have been on this season because he has one of the biggest underdog stories where on his season he was the last man standing with 6 women in the game on a season that started as men versus women. So at the time, he was very overrated, and now he's become more underrated. I would have loved to see Chris play again. I think he would be very interesting and fun to watch if he did play again. I don't think people would view him as a threat initially. I think he would have a strong social game, and I think he would go very far. And I think he would probably make it to like at least 10. I think he definitely makes the jury unless he gets dealt a bad hand in the game where he may go right before the jury phase. But would have loved to see Chris, but he's one that is not coming back. Then after Chris, we have Tom Westman, winner of Season 10. And Tom is another player who I think should have been on this season. His first time playing, he played a really strong game. His team dominated in all the challenges. He was a challenge beast himself. He led his team really well. He played again on Heroes vs. Villains, where he was out pretty early. So if he was to play again, I think he probably is seen as too much of a threat, even if he's not seen as a challenge threat anymore. I think his social game and his strategic game, and I think he's a player that people would want to work with, but I think he's just one of the big dogs in Survivor who people won't want to keep around too long because they know that he can make those connections and he could win if he got to the end. So I love Tom. I think he's one of the best to ever play. But if he was playing, I don't think he would get too far, unfortunately. But we won't know because he's not playing this season. And then after Tom Westman is Aris, winner of Season 12. And Aris played on Blood vs. Water with Tina. He did moderately well, but his first game was in Season 12 Panama, I think it was called, and he played with Terry and Cirie and Shane and some very colorful characters. So I think Aris is more of an underrated winner. But I remember Aris pretty well. I think he's an interesting player. He's all into yoga and stuff. So it would have been cool to see him play again. I don't ever get sick of Aris playing Survivor, so I do hope that he comes back and plays a third time. But unfortunately, it won't be this time. And if he was to play on this season, I think he would do well. I think he would make the jury phase. But again, I think he's someone that people would see as a threat, and they would eventually probably want to get out. After Aris is Season 14 winner, Earl. And Earl is another great winner. He was, I believe, the first winner to win the game unanimously. He got every single vote. That season it was pretty much between Yao Man and he, and Earl ended up winning it. Earl just seems like a really strong player where if he was playing this season, I think he would make it far. I think he'd have a great social game. I think people would want to work with him. And I think that he would be able to play a very strong under-the-radar game where he would make good moves and be able to get people to side with him on a lot of the votes. I think they actually did reach out to Earl, possibly, to play this season, but I think he has stuff going on in his life, or I think he did get a call, but he didn't want to do it. I could be wrong, but I would have liked to see Earl play, but we'll have to wait for another season. Not this one. But if he was in the game this season, I think he would go far. I think he would make the jury phase. After Earl, we have Todd from season 15, the winner of season 15. And I think Todd would have done very well on this season. I know Todd has had some issues in the past, and he's had a bit of a rocky situation going on after his win. But I hope he's doing better. I think he's doing better. And I wish that he could play again, because I think he would do really well. I think he would at least make it to the jury. I think he would play a good social game. I think he's got the strategy. I think people would trust him and want to work with him. But I'm not sure what Todd's up to, but he's not playing on this season. I wish he was. And if he was, then I think he would make it pretty far, right around the jury. And then after Todd is Bob from season 17. And I really like Bob. I think if Bob was playing this season, he would make it far. He's the oldest winner to ever win. And I think that he would not be seen as a threat, but I think he would have a really strong social game. I think people would want to work with him, and I think he would do well in integrating himself into groups and alliances. I think that, you can't sleep on Bob. I think if he was playing this season, he would be underestimated, and I think he would pull the rug out from some of the players. So, no Bob this season. If he was playing, I definitely see him going far, probably top 8. Because, again, I don't see him being perceived as a big threat. But I think he could be. But, with an all-winner season, it's really hard to predict certain things. But I like Bob. He probably won't ever play again. But it'd be cool to see if he did. Unfortunately, he's not on the season. Then after Bob is JT from season 18. Now, JT won his season, played again, and he was out during the jury phase, and then he played again, and then he was out before the jury. So, with that said, I think if he played again, I don't think he would do as well. I think he would either just barely make the jury, or he would go home right before the jury. I don't think anyone would view him as too much of a threat in season 40, but I think he would definitely be someone that people would feel comfortable working with, but I don't think he goes out really early, but I don't think he makes it too far either. So right around the middle. But JT is an interesting one because, like I said, every time he plays, he does a little bit worse, which is unfortunate. But that's just the dice that he rolls, I guess. But I like JT. I like all the winners. So, and then after JT is Natalie from season 19, and I really wish that Natalie White, not Natalie Anderson. Natalie Anderson is on this season. Natalie White is not. And I wish that she was, because she played with Russell, and Samoa is a very divisive season. Some people believe Russell should have won. Some people think Natalie rightfully did win. So it would have been interesting to see Natalie play again without Russell. I think that she has potential to play a very good social game. It'd be interesting to see how she plays with all these winners. I think if she did play, she wouldn't be perceived as a threat. So I definitely see her going far, and if she did play, I'd see her probably making top 8 or top 10, probably making the jury, unless she gets dealt a bad hand in the game, in which case she could go right around the merge or before the jury. And then after Natalie is season 21 winner Fabio. And Fabio is one of my favorite winners. He was very entertaining, very funny, very likable. If he was on this season, I think he would make it very far. He wouldn't be seen as a threat. I think he'd have a strong social game. I think people would want to use him as a number, and it would just be fun to see him play again. I don't know if he would make a lot of big moves. I don't know how strong his strategic game would be, but he's a really fun winner, very funny winner, very entertaining. Would love to see him play again. Unfortunately, he's not. If he was playing this season, I definitely think he goes far. Probably would make around top 10. And then after Fabio, we have season 26 winner Cochran, John Cochran, and Cochran, he's an interesting one too, because he was kind of an outcast on his first season, and then he came back and won unanimously his second. So I think Cochran is a strong player. I think he's a bit underrated. I think if he was playing on this season, he would make it pretty far. I think he could probably make the jury. I don't think people will see him as too much of a threat. They won't perceive him as such. But I think he'll be able to play a strong social game and a very strong under-the-radar strategic game. But I'm not sure. I think he could possibly make like top 8 or go around some point near the merge, like right around the early jury phase to maybe the finale. I don't know if Cochran would win, but he would definitely go pretty far, I think. After Cochran is season 30 winner Mike. And Mike went on an immunity run in his season. He was very popular at one point in the game, and then he wasn't. He had to win immunities. Mike has a great underdog story. If he played again, he's another one who's kind of a wild card. I think he either goes out very early, just being dealt a bad hand in the game, or he makes it very far. I don't think people will perceive him as a strategic threat. I think his strongest asset is going to be his social threat, and if he's still able to compete in challenges like he did the first time, then he may be seen as a challenge threat. So I think he could go home if he played this season anywhere between early, maybe the middle, maybe make it really far to the end. But if you had to twist my arm and make me guess, I would have to put him. I think he goes early, probably before the merge. And the only reason I say that is because I don't know if people are going to want to work with him based on his unpredictability in his original season, and they may have the fear of him being a challenge threat down the road, so they may want to get him out before the competition becomes more individual and not team-based. But I do like Mike. He was a good underdog on his season. And then after Mike is Chris Underwood from season 38, Edge of Extinction. And I'm just going to say it. Chris Underwood is probably, at least in my top 5, one of my favorite winners. I know a lot of people don't like that he won because he didn't really play the whole game of Survivor because he was on Edge of Extinction for most of it. But I just think it's kind of funny. I think it's just amazing. He's just the ultimate underdog where he literally got voted out third and came back 30 days, 20 something days later, and ended up coming back and winning. I mean, maybe it's disrespectful to the game of Survivor for me to really like him as a winner, which some people like him as a winner, they just don't like the twist. Personally, I loved season 38. I know a lot of people didn't like it. It's one of my favorite seasons. I loved Reem. I loved Rick Devens. I loved Ron Clark, Joe, David, Big Wendy, Kelly Wardog, and Lauren. Gavin was cool. Julie. I just remember the cast, and they were very likable and very interesting. And I felt like you had heroes, you had villains, and it was just a really good season. And I like that Chris won. Sorry, I know a lot of people don't, but I do. He's one of my favorite winners. I just think it's funny and awesome at the same time, which, again, if you disagree, I completely understand why people have a problem with that season or have a problem with the winner. I do understand. But in my opinion, and from my perspective, it doesn't really bother me. So, I really do like that season, and I do like Chris as a winner. Now, if he was competing on this season, how would he do? He's another hard one to really place. I'm going to say that he probably goes out around the jury phase. I don't think he quite makes it far, but I think he sticks around. I don't think people will view him as too much of a strategic threat. They might be wary because he was on Extinction Island for most of the time that he played, so they might not know what to expect of him. So his unpredictability might be a little intimidating to other players. However, I think he'll definitely be seen as a physical threat because he is one of the newer winners, and I think because he did win challenges on his season, especially the Extinction Island one, Edge of Extinction. I always want to call it Extinction Island. I know it's called Edge of Extinction. But I think he would stick around for a while, but they would eventually get rid of him right around jury phase. He probably would make top 10, anywhere between top 12, top 8 players. And then the last winner, who is not competing on this season, is the newest winner, Tommy Sheehan, from season 39. And I like Tommy as a winner. I think a lot of people like Tommy. He played a very strong social game, one of the best social games in a while. And I think if he was on this season, I think he would definitely go far. I think he definitely makes it to the jury, and he would definitely even make it to the finale, possibly. Because I think his social game would be his biggest asset. He wasn't known for finding idols and clues. He didn't win any challenges, I don't think. So I think he'll definitely be a huge social threat. I think people would want to work with him. And because of that, I think that he would go far. But of course, he could not be on this season. I think the same as Chris, because it was too soon. And around the time that season 40 was actually happening, I think their seasons were on the air or something. You know what I'm saying. So anyways, those are my thoughts on the 18 winners that are not competing on Season 40. I really think Richard should have been on. I really think Tina should have been on. I think Chris Daughtry should have been on. And I think Tom Westman probably could have and should have been on. But I'm happy with the cast we have, you know. Like I said, I like every winner. I've never not liked anybody that's won. I think everyone that has won is a very fine winner. I think everyone plays their own game. There's so many unique winners, different ages, different personalities. So that's what makes the game of Survivor really cool. But you know, hopefully we'll get to see some of these winners that aren't playing this time play again. You know, probably Tommy Sheehan or Sheehan. Sorry, I don't know how to pronounce his last name. We'll probably see him play again. Maybe Chris Underwood. Maybe Fabio. Hopefully Todd and Earl. You know, and I still think Richard deserves a second chance, and I hope so. But anyways, so what are you gonna do? The casts we got, the casts we don't have. So that's the video. Thank you for watching. I appreciate the viewing. Like and subscribe, I guess. And like I said, in my first video, after every episode premieres, I'm going to post the video. Probably the next day, not that night. And just give my thoughts and feelings on the episode. Review it. If you haven't seen my first two videos, please check them out. I do these for fun. So, you know, it's not going to have special effects. There's no cuts in the videos. You know, the camera quality is not that great, I know. But I appreciate you watching, and I hope you enjoyed it. Let me know in the comments if you want who you think should have been on this season, who you wanted to be on this season, and who are you rooting for this season. Leave a comment, like, subscribe, and yada yada yada. Alright, that's it. That's all I got. Okay, so tomorrow is the premiere. This will probably be my last video till then. I don't think I'm going to post again until episode 1 premieres. I might, but I probably won't. So, until next time, have a wonderful day. Have a wonderful day. Stay happy, stay healthy, stay hydrated. That's all, folks. Thank you for watching. Bye-bye.